Yeah, sure. So the question was, is there a comparison when it comes to law enforcement issues or in terms of the historical perspective, right? So I don't have any data right now to really kind of quantify that. I would say though, I'm going to put this in terms of not law enforcement, but just visitor contacts, because at the end of the day, we only have 2 law enforcement officers for the entire 3.4 million acres. So I'm not sure that's a good representative. But I think we do have, luckily, this great concept of the Friends of Bridget Teton have actually started, which is the ambassador program, and then we have our employees that make tons of contacts. I would say that the number of contacts have obviously increased without a doubt, and the number of people that we're interacting that are new to the National Forest or new to camping or exploring our public lands has gone up quite a bit. And so I'd say our educational efforts have increased quite a bit. We also are seeing more folks in the landscape near Jackson in this Ring of Fire area that are living on the National Forest. More folks with mental health issues, and more folks that are aggressive to some of our folks. So I think that's taken a toll on our workforce. And so I'd say, again, this area, this polygon that I kind of identified, this Ring of Fire area, it's something that I think we're all dealing with. The increase in use, the rapid change, and we're all kind of reactionary mode. And I would say that it's a struggle for us.
With that, can each of you give your 2 key burning things that must change?
We need to start paying a lot better attention to all the connections. And 2, we need to upgrade our decision outputs to reflect that new knowledge and new attention about what's connected, what our problems are, and how we're going to deal with those. So pay attention, better decisions.
I'd probably be cheating if I said housing and housing, right? That probably is not acceptable, but I never thought that one of my priorities starting this position would be housing. I thought forest plan revision, wildlife corridors, recreation management, but if I look at the future of this workforce, if we can't figure out the housing situation, then we're going to have some serious struggles. So housing's one. The second one I kind of hit on is the recognition that these issues that we're dealing with, not the reactions we're making, but the deeper issues that are challenging all of us are truly cross-jurisdictional issues. And I don't feel like we have that governing kind of body, that entity that truly can address some of the issues that are impacting us all. And I think until we stop working in silos and truly do find some kind of a governance system that incorporates all the right players to address all of the issues that have been addressed today, we're going to struggle.
I think we owe him a lot of thanks. He's like 3 months on the job, and he's got a pretty sophisticated understanding already in terms of what's going on. So Chad's just to be complimented on that. Sorry, I know it's super granular and it's not what you're looking for, but housing's the same thing. I'm actually, Grand Teton National Park is not limited by funding. We're limited by the fact that we can't hire all of our funded positions because we don't have places for people to be able to live. And that is constraining our ability to operate. And also, I'm just going to also agree with Chad in terms of it's at the local, state, federal level, businesses, nonprofit organizations, all are working to do really, really good work. We are if we could figure out how to collaborate and align better, just using our existing expenditures and our existing level of effort, we could be so much more effective. And so the existing structures, trying to work through like formal federal planning processes or county commissioner meetings or whatnot, they don't seem to be meeting the needs for the kind of integrative collaboration that needs to be happening in this ecosystem.
So you didn't ask, but I'm going to tell you 3 and 4 as a basis for maybe a discussion. So my 2 colleagues just pointed out the integration problem and the decision-making problem, which I spoke to. So I would argue we need to get out of the weeds. Everybody is busy doing something tactically. Continue that and redouble your effort. But we need to lift the game to understand context, connections, how you understand what problems are, how you understand what community integration means, how do you learn to understand what living with nature means. We're completely skipping that part. And we just generate these laundry lists of weed-like problems. Like there's too many people in that campground. That's true. So we need to lift our game and try to deal with the systems, the community, our own thinking, our own values, the world we're caught up in and being swept along by. And all we can do is react to it by making lists of problems we don't like and saying we can't integrate. I argue we can. We know there are network active learning systems out there that are working. There are very sophisticated leadership and decision-making mechanisms in place in the world. We can use all of those here should we choose to do that.
Right. What I was hearing as a question is like compare all across the country. There are many federal lands, including National Park Service units, that are also and communities that are faced with a variety of challenges in terms of visitation. Rocky Mountain National Park with Estes National Park, they've got day-use reservations. Yosemite has done day-use reservations. Muir Woods, a variety of different things. And the question is like, what are we doing at Grand Teton? So I spent 9 years at Yosemite working on exactly these issues. What I can tell you is the reason that you saw the data slides is I'm trying to understand the problem. I'm trying to understand in pretty granular detail what our problems are and what the forecast looks like in terms of going forward in terms of that, because if we understand the problems, then we can focus on what solutions are. That's why I think it's really important. I think it's really important to understand congestion's not the problem. Congestion's a huge problem in Yosemite on the road system, huge problem in Rocky, huge problem in Zion. That's not our problem in Grand Teton. Parking's a problem. And so that leads to different solutions. And so we still have a ways to go in terms of understanding our problems. And part of it is understanding those problems and the interconnectedness with the communities. Again, the reason that the reason there is a shuttle system and a reservation system at Rocky Mountain National Park, that's because it's an integrated solution with the town of Estes Park. The reason there's similar solutions at Acadia National Park, it's an integrated solution with the town of Bar Harbor. When I was in Yosemite, we worked on created a regional transportation authority with 3 counties. We still have a ways to go in terms of trying to figure out where that Venn diagram of challenges in Grand Teton, challenges in the community, and what the area of interest is in terms of trying to put money, people's time, and effort into solving those. But people are working on it. I mean, the county, great credit to county commissioners, the town, Teton Village Association. There's a whole bunch of people who are working on this, and we're making incremental progress. So.
Very, very, very briefly, Albert Einstein was asked, if you have a problem to solve, what are you going to do? He said, I almost spent 55 minutes trying to figure out what the hell it is, and 5 minutes offering recommendations. We have it just reversed. So based on what Chip just said, there are ways to deal with problems that have been known for decades that allow us to get at that 55 minutes. It's called being problem-oriented. How do you try to be rational, politically practical, and morally justified all at the same time? We can do that here if we want. They're just currently not being used. So the last thing I want to say is we so desperately, well, Jonathan talked about passion you have. Well, I hear it as anxiety. And we got to do something. So we've got to use what I call pragmatic hope. Pragmatism is about understanding the real world problems and dealing with them in real world ways. If we do that, we can be hopeful about our future. But if we live in fantasy land or wishful thinking or whatever, or the status quo or business as usual, guess what?